about the Jake Paul allegation.
And quite frankly, I do not believe the alleged victim. And I don't want to just...
Love that. Just right out the gate. I don't believe her. But wait till you hear why. This guy's done shit that would make David Dobrik look like a fucking, like the Tooth Fairy.
And this is like current. Like, you know how people use excuse,
exactly.
like, 10 years ago. He's doing this currently? Like, in this, like, climate? It's
this just came out. And he actually has a history of being a rape apologist, which I'll show you guys. It's kind of wild.
Just cover this real quick on Drama Alert without getting some pushback. Maybe there's something I'm missing. Maybe I'm not seeing a certain angle to the story. That's why I'm making this Twitter video, so I can be challenged before I put it on Drama Alert in front of millions of people. But I just don't believe this story at all. Am I missing something here? Please.
Yeah, he's missing a lot. I mean, this is a rape apology right here, 101.
This reminds me of those, what do they call them? Like, was it incels? Like that.
Right about. Anyways, Keemstar responds to all of this in a series of Twitter videos titled, Ethan Klein's failed attempt of destroying Jake Paul.
Hey guys, I tried to make a Twitter video explaining all of this, but it is impossible to do in 2 minutes, so I'm going to do this voice memo thing. You know, the tweet after this will be part 2, part 3, or however long this is. But, you know, basically Trisha Paytas and H3H3, Ethan Klein, have been on a war path to take down YouTubers. And there's always some reason behind it, right? So with the first one, I mean, Trisha had a problem with David Dobrik. She has been trying to cancel them for years, failed attempt after failed attempt. But when her and Ethan get together, you know, they were able to find some legitimate dirt on David Dobrik. Now, the Seth kissing thing, like, you know, I don't know how I feel about that. You know, when we had proof that Seth was asking for another kissing prank, I'm sorry, but you kind of lose credibility on that. But the stuff with Dom was legit. You know, they found some legit dirt on David, made David look bad. And they were able to cause a lot of damage to him. And I agreed with the stuff with Dom. I mean, I did a whole Drama Alert with it. So, you know, they didn't have a problem with me. However, they went after the sponsors. They went after all of David's sponsors. You know, they worked with these reporters. They worked with the Deaf Noodles, or Defamation Noodles, who was constantly putting out, you know, false stories on David. And, you know, they went after the money, something that no YouTuber does. No other YouTuber goes after people's sponsors, or, you know what I'm saying, right? So then James Charles, right? Now, again, with the James Charles situation, I agreed with them. I think James is guilty. You know, he admitted to 2 of these scenarios, but they just didn't stop with covering the story and voicing their opinions. No, they went after they ran campaigns to go after Morphe, right? And again, they're working with real life reporters, something that YouTubers don't really do that much, right? To go after the money, go after the sponsors, get statements from YouTube, get statements from his sponsors. And, you know, James Charles lost Morphe and everything else. So they were on this war path, right, of just destroying YouTubers and taking them down. And again, I'm not saying that these YouTubers are innocent, right? I agreed with the aspect of David Dobrik. I agreed with the James Charles thing. I just don't agree with attacking YouTubers' money, attacking their sponsorship, or attacking YouTube for having them in the partnership program. I don't agree with that, and no other YouTuber does. So then they get to Jake Paul, and there's these allegations on Jake Paul. And, you know, they're gearing up to take down another YouTuber. They're working with the New York Times, and they're working with Deaf Noodles, and they have these allegations, and they're getting ready to take down Jake Paul right before his fight. You know, it's interesting how this came out right before the Ben Askren fight, right? And I looked at these allegations, and I had serious questions. Like, I had a lot of doubt on the validity of these allegations. And so they weren't successful at all in destroying Jake Paul and taking Jake Paul down. And I think they think because Keemstar had a different opinion, they weren't going to be successful. So now I'm assuming they must be thinking to themselves, well, we need to take out Keemstar. If Keemstar is still there and he has a different opinion, we're not going to be able to just dominate and control YouTube and take any YouTuber down that we please, right? Because they're coming out with a brand new episode And I know this because, members of the H3H3 Trisha podcast or whatever, they get to watch these episodes, early. And I have a copy of this episode from a friend. And the stuff that is being said about me is unfreaking believable. Now, we all know about the tragic death of Etika. And, his mother, Etika's mother, came out with a statement the first time Ethan tried this, trying to accuse me of killing Etika, and said that, Keemstar is not responsible. And the family, the friends, the ex-girlfriend, the current girlfriend, all these people have come out and said, please stop using Etika's death as a pawn and this little beef between, Keemstar and Ethan. Like, he's been told this a million times. But on this new podcast, he goes on to say that Keemstar told Etika to jump off of a bridge. No, I did not. No, I did not. He purposely changed the word of cliff, which I really said, and we were talking about simulation theory. And I was like, simulation theory is dangerous because if you really believe that that's true, like, why not just jump off a cliff, right? So in his explanation, he changes the word cliff to bridge and then goes on to say, and a couple months later, Etika jumped off a bridge. Now, that was deliberate. And he said that, Keemstar has horrible takes on mental health, and which is true. That is true. I have had horrible takes on mental health in the past, which I've publicly come out and saying that I was wrong and that I didn't understand this and that I will try to grow as a person and try to understand this mental health stuff more, which I have done since. So, and then he says that, Keemstar, all he does is use and abuse people with mental health. Now, 17 minutes later, in this same podcast where Ethan says this, he's talking about doing an award show, an award show with Trisha Paytas, and he says, what if we gave out an award for the biggest mental breakdown? And like, what if we awarded it to Gabby Hanna? Like, you can't make this up. He just, 17 minutes earlier, he just said that I use and take advantage of people with mental illness. And now he wants to give awards for the biggest break. You can't make this stuff up. They also went on to say that I should be deplatformed on every single platform. They went on to say that I don't deserve to have a daughter. I shouldn't have a daughter. My daughter should be taken away from me. This stuff is wild. And I guess the reason why I'm putting this out is just so, my viewers and my fans have a little bit of context. But also just so, like...
Dude, I don't agree with either of them. I think you should have a daughter because you seem a lot more responsible than me in general, okay? Ethan and Trisha are not responsible.
That's it, right? Like, I want you guys to truly understand what the motive is to attacking Keemstar now. Like, it really boils down to, we were supposed to take Jake Paul down, and we were unsuccessful because Keemstar disagreed and had doubt about the allegations. That's what's going on here.
Yeah, because he can make his own opinions. He can legally make his own opinions, okay? Very simple.
And God forbid, if for some reason I do get banned or get erased off the internet or retire, whatever, if I'm not here anymore, these guys, Def Noodles, H3H3, Trisha Paytas, and these reporters that they work with and they platform will control this entire community. It will be one opinion. These guys with these James Charles and James Charles and David Dobrik stories, they have created a hate mob. and they're just directing it at whoever they want, whoever they decide to just take down. And it's really scary. And, you know, they're hitting me with this social justice stuff where you're supposed to believe all victims. That is insanity. That is insanity. You know, every case is an individual case, and, you know, you have to look at what facts are available, and you have to give your honest opinion on that, right?
Yeah, exactly. Because if you don't look at the facts, and you just give your opinion and believe all victims, it's just like, well, what the hell are you doing with your life at all?
You can't just say all victims are truthful and all allegations are truthful and it's 100%. You can't do that. You can't do that, because what's going to happen is because there is going to be an allegation. There is going to be something out there that's against a YouTuber that destroys their entire career, right? And then we're going to find out that it's not true. And then we're going to find out that it's not true. You know, that's just as damaging to real victims of sexual assault, rape, whatever, right? You have to look at every case on an individual basis. So, I don't know. I just wanted to kind of vent and tell you guys what's going on. And, yeah, dude, I don't know what's wrong with Ethan. He's so careless. Absolutely so careless.
Exactly. So careless that he doesn't even care at all.
And all this stuff is just going to bite him in the ass in the long run. And
Kind of. All the stuff that he's saying about you is gonna give him a good, swift kick in the ass.
he really needs to get a little smarter. That's it.
Yeah, so does Krisha. Seriously.
A couple hours later, Keemstar then makes another Twitter video titled, "What's Wrong with Him?"
I'm in actual disbelief. Like, Etika's family, Etika's friends, Etika's real fans that used to actually watch him and watch his streams have all asked Ethan Klein to stop using Etika's death as a pawn to attack me. His mother came out with a statement saying that I am in no way responsible for the tragic loss of Etika. And he's still doing it. He just made this big rant and said stuff that I've never said. And listen to what he says here. This is...
I think his mother is wrong, because you didn't do anything with his death. Ethan is the one promoting it off his podcast.
unbelievable.
And I'm just saying, you look at his interaction with this dude Etika and his history of using and abusing people with mental illnesses, and you should see the tweets he's made about how he's literally tweeted mental illnesses are made up for people to get attention. Like, he doesn't believe mental illness.
I did not tweet that phrase. I have had bad takes on mental health, which I've acknowledged publicly, because I just didn't know enough about it. And I've changed my opinions, and I apologize for some of those takes. But let's continue.
They're real. Ironically, being that he's probably got the most severe one of any of the people that I actually know on YouTube.
Really
he's saying that I have a mental illness now.
No, the guy is a total sick dude.
Okay. So I exploit mental illness. That's what Ethan just said. But in the same podcast, people. This is the same podcast. Look, same title and same everything. Listen, he's talking about doing an award show, and he's thinking about an award to give out. And listen to what he says. I'm going to be very quiet so you can hear in detail.
Greatest metal breakdown.
I don't think they're gonna show up.
Well, let's say, but they might. Let's say Gabby Hanna.
How does anyone take this guy serious? I don't get it.
Keem then tweets out, Ethan Klein, Keemstar is a frat boy with frat boy friends and fans. Trisha Paytas, Keemstar's fans are incels and school shooters. Paraphrasing, but both statements were made on the exact same podcast episode. Can somebody explain this to me? He also responds to somebody who says, "Why are you even on this planet anymore? Nobody wants you here. Anyway, praying for your daughter." And then highlights them by saying, H3H3 fans. And that's
Really? Dumbass.